We're going to begin the City of North Charleston Committee of the Whole meeting, February 19, 2026, 5:30 p.m. I request that the minutes from December 18, 2025, the Committee of the Whole meeting be approved.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those who are for?
Aye.
And those who are against? All right, we have, I guess, three speakers, Reality Check 2.0, and we present.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much. I'm Steve Dudash. I'm actually Director of Special Projects at the Navy Yard, but I'm also Chair of the South Carolina ULI, Urban Land Institute, Chair of that, and I was Chair of the Reality Check event that we had back in April of last year. And we just sort of wanted to bring and show you, give you an update, and present it to you and talk about our process and then sort of go from there. So, and the great things that actually the City of North Charleston is already doing, sort of in alignment, if you will, for the principles and the things that we've sort of came up with and outlined in the reality check. It was great to see the mayor was there at this event and some others, so it was great to see that, but many of you weren't. So we feel like it's important that we let everybody know what happened, what the outcomes were, and then where we think we should be going. So, and this is
Before Steve starts, a lot of you all know that we're actually redeveloping the naval base. Steve has a big hand into it. So when they come here, he's one of the individuals that will be able to answer questions about what we're trying to do in the Navy Yard.
yes, sir.
Thanks.
And you would be a great one too. And I'm so glad to see everybody came here for a reality check. I mean, all these people came here for this. Yeah, I'll let Ryan introduce the great.
I'm Ryan Wilcox, Regional Economic Development Specialist at the BCD COG, and we partnered with ULI to help put reality check bring it together. So happy to be here to report out to you all.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk off the presentation up on the screen there. If you go to the next slide, it'd be great, please. Thank you. So one of the places we like to start is actually talking about this question of growth. I mean, growth here in Charleston is a really big issue. A lot of people think we're growing too fast, which we are. We're trying to get we had a reality check 1.0 back in 2007 when the growth and everything was really frothy back then. We had a reality check, we had a set of principles, we were getting ready to go on the road show, and then all of a sudden we had a little thing called the recession that put everything on pause. We're sort of back at that stage now, if not more, and we felt like it was important for everybody is to build a consensus within the region. So this is a tri-county region, it's Berkeley County, Berkeley, Dorchester, and Charleston County all coming together, and then looking at a map. And we had these tables that everybody came to and played this little game like you saw on the first slide. So one of the places I like to start though is to say, hey, what have we been doing since 1645, 1670 when Charleston was founded, and we've been growing ever since. And we are constrained, if you will, by the Francis Marion National Forest to the north and then the East Basin to the south. So everything's actually has been growing up and towards Columbia, up towards 95 in Columbia. And everything really centers right now, if you notice, in North Charleston. So it's exciting. I think the opportunities in North Charleston, it's really exciting to sort of strategize, capitalize on this growth, and we can all figure out together and within a region. So regionalism is what this is really all about, and thinking regionally all together, try to come up with some solutions really if we can for this. So you can go to the next slide, please. This shows one of the Google Earth images from 1984, and you can see sort of what I was talking about with the patterns of growth. And if you go to the next slide, you can see how that's really expanded greatly since 1984 and 2022. So growth is happening. Regionalism, why it's important? Because it's a holistic approach to benefit the region. It's we're looking at it as a benefit to the whole, and really not defined by jurisdictional boundaries, so that there is sustainable growth and economic prosperity and the ecological protections, for around. So those three tenets really start defining the guiding principles for the growth within the region, and you'll see those in just a little bit too. So next slide.
So the this shows the projected regional growth. This is based on the BCD COG travel demand model that we maintain. The fonts are a little grouped together there, but so we're projecting 270,000 new residents into the region by 2045 to bring the whole total population to 1.2 million, and essentially that's 37 new residents a day moving here for the next 23 years straight to get to that. So if you go to the next slide, the current population of the cities of Charleston and North Charleston combined is 269,000. So almost the exact projected growth that we're expecting into this region is if you took every citizen of those two cities right now and move them here. That's what we're looking at. Go to the next slide.
Yeah, so again, with that growth and the growth pressures and certainly within the region, smart growth, I mean, we need something, we need to be all together if we can as much as possible for growth, and we believe smart growth is the way to go. And what that does is gives a housing choice and affordability. You can see how it's listed here, you know, businesses, including grocery stores, particularly in North Charleston, particularly in our area that we're working on too. Job opportunities, transportation options. We need great transportation options. If you think about land use and transportation, when you plan it together, actually studies will show that you can actually reduce traffic demands by 20% on the vehicle miles traveled. So being a collective in a region and then collectively with transportation and land use, we can be impactful there. Connecting the neighborhoods, and then the last one there, you know, being able to generate and increase tax revenues for the benefit of all. So. And it was a surprise, actually. You know, we talk about all this growth, and South Carolina is the #1 U-Haul state in the country, meaning everybody rents U-Hauls and comes here into South Carolina. There's actually a statistic that shows that. But what also shows, this graph actually shows that 67.5% are coming from South Carolina. They're really not coming from outside the state. They're actually moving around in the state. So that was really interesting to us to see. But you can see the total number there, about 120,000. People are moving here to this region, and goes to that number that Ryan was speaking to. Next slide. This me. This again speaks to the movement that's in within the region and the commuter flows by county. You can see that a lot of it is coming. I mean, there's a lot of travel going on in and out, right? So out of Berkeley County, 78,000 into Charleston County, 144,000. Out of Dorchester County, 61,000. That's commuting there daily and then back out there as well. And North Charleston, they're going through the infrastructure, using the infrastructure that's here in North Charleston. So it's important. It's important to notify that.
Next slide. Oh, I see that one. Yeah. I don't know what the font says. So these are the through the process that we went through. At reality check. So we had members of government, the development community, nonprofits, business community, people on the environmental side, all to gather around the table. You'll see there going through exercise with Legos and strings. The Legos signify new households and also new jobs to the region. And the string is how you connect them, whether it's via transit, new roads, or green transportation. And the challenge, and so we mixed up the tables into a cross sectors. So really have those discussions at the table to how are we going to work on this growth. And out of that, and also thank you to the city of North Charleston. We hosted this at the convention center in the East Montague room, which was a fantastic facility, and we're appreciative of that opportunity. It's really worked out well. So the guiding principles for growth that came out of that. So this is we did the research there. We were using AI on site to try to lift up some of the things that people were talking about. Then we went back through, we analyzed it ourselves at the COG. We sent out a survey to all the participants, these guiding principles, which I'll read here since you won't be able to see them all. That came out. Plan infrastructure and growth for long-term resilience, expand transportation choices and connectivity, preserve natural landscapes and community character, support housing choice and connected mixed-use communities, and coordinate across jurisdictions and invest in shared understanding. So if you go to the next slide.
I apologize, that list was on there, it just didn't show up there.
So this shows where, on the left of the screen here, this is where participants at Reality Check envisioned future household growth going. So where the areas are red is where the most Legos signifying households ended up on the table. And if you can see very clearly that the hotspot of the region is North Charleston, is of what this regional thought that growth should occur. On the right is committed housing developments in the region. So these are entitled communities that have already been, such as Point Hope out in Cainhoy, those neighborhoods that are to come. That's where that entitled housing is. So there's a mismatch of where housing from planning this exercise and where the current future availability will lie. If you go to the next slide. And again, this shows the jobs. Showing the job growth also focused in North Charleston. And that's one of the dynamics in the slide that Steve was showing you about commuting. When you have the region sprawling out into Berkeley and Dorchester County, it's still the center of jobs here. You get that commuting traffic coming to Charleston. And so that trend, based on our projections, is to continue. So this is how the participants saw it as well. So if you go to the next slide.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why is there so much pressure on the region in North Charleston?
Partly, and I'll see if you can expand on this too, where we have the opportunity in North Charleston is where their infrastructure exists. I think there is an opportunity to put the group there, what they were suggesting through their feedback was that having that development infill into regions that are already built rather than continuing extending out into deeper rural areas was a preferred method of development.
So where does infrastructure exist? Like I'm trying, because it's a housing issue now, so I'm trying to figure out where does the infrastructure exist in the area? Is it along, is because it's the PCOG, so is it along the LCRT corridor still,
Yeah, well,
mostly?
one of them,
Yeah.
one of them, but I think everybody recognizes that Rivers is a major corridor and maybe it's underutilized from a density and from a housing standpoint. And then I guess some of the other corridors, mainly Rivers Avenue.
How did you guys choose your group? Like what is are they from here? Are they developers? Or what, when you say the group?
Yeah, they were all across the board. So we had 15 tables, 10 people each. And like the mayor sat at one table, there was other mayors who were also there, other council members from around and nonprofits, the league was there as well, the environmental groups. We had developers, we had planners, we had, and then we were very intentional in making sure that they were very diverse around the table as well, so that the dialogue was as healthy as it could possibly be as well. So
Was I invited? Cause I don't remember invited to that.
We brought it to
I mean, that's my whole district in the middle, so I'm trying to figure out, it's my first time hearing about it.
So what they did, Councilwoman, it wasn't like district lady, they were trying to find a place big enough to have. That's why they had
Oh.
to at the.
No, I mean, the
convention center.
pressure is in, the pressure
This is
showing
the
North
outcome.
Charleston. Right, right.
So this is the outcome, so we didn't know that going in.
Oh, okay.
This is the outcome, this is where they place, most of the people place their Lego blocks.
But nobody, but the residents, like, as far as, was anybody who represent district, in this district where the pressure is at, which is district, was anybody in there that represented that area? As far as residents, anybody from that area who knows this area, other than the mayor, I know he knows the area, but was there anybody represented there for this data information?
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, Mr. Brown was there.
Okay,
But like I said, this is the outcome.
okay,
So this wasn't the beginning. Nobody knew this going there.
right.
That it was gonna be focused, this focus. This was what came out of it.
Right, but I get what you're saying, but I'm saying, but a lot of people who don't represent the area, who don't know the livability in the area, it's just why.
So that's why we think it's important to come here. And actually, you're the first city or town that we've presented
Oh,
to show these results.
okay.
So you're the first ones to see this from a municipality standpoint. Yeah. So, hope that helps.
Yeah, that was
and we're trying to go forward as well. Yeah,
Alright,
and we're taking feedback along the way.
yeah, we're taking, yeah.
okay,
This is our first one.
okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
speaking of the LCRT, I mean, this sort of shows that corridor and then the data that would talk about the value of, and what would happen with the growth along that corridor. I also the tax benefits that come along with that are so this is just really numbers thing showing that. I think we can go to the next slide too. And this talks about the value really of trying to do something, doing that corridor, doing the LCRT, letting that come, and then what's gonna happen all around that too as well, is that that would increase the value of the property and by market demand by 2045, which is fantastic because that does help with the tax base, which then gets into the coffers and then just generates the city of North Charleston as a whole. So we think that's really good.
Let me take this one. So we say this is all of the information we have, more detailed about the output of this on our website. But we wanted to showcase this, the North Charleston Comp Plan, you know, the action plan and your focus, your four major categories of livability and quality of life, sustainable growth and resiliency, economic opportunity, mobility and connectivity are right in line with what the reality check was talking about and the guiding principles that rose out of that. So we just wanted to recognize this and then go to the next slide. This is a slide that shows initiatives that are coming up. So on the right, we have it coded here. You've got the Unified Development Ordinance that they're presenting today, the Transit-Oriented Development Phase 3 project that's going on. I think that many of you at the council have spoken with some of the folks working on that. Transportation sales tax and safe streets for all. We developed this to show you where your work and the things that North Charleston is working on right now, how it can lean into those implementation strategies that were talked about at Reality Check. So you know, there's as you saw and noted, there's a lot of potential and pressures and challenges, and we've worked together and hopefully see it through. So.
This is sort of that detail work that, you know, based on the overall arching things that are happening in the region and what the city of North Charleston has been working or getting ready to focus on too as well, which is really important to try to take this forward.
Thank you.
Any questions? Councilman Burke?
I'm wondering, maybe you can help me with this, with that reality check. Speaking about the counties, if I'm right, didn't they said we're looking at Berkeley County would see the most increase in possibly in population during this time?
That's based on,
Yes, but we will, North Charleston, Charleston County would see most in job placement increase. Yes.
yeah, that's what the travel demand model is saying at this point. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, we have resiliency accelerator.
Hi, Council. Thank you for your time tonight. If you don't know me, hopefully my face is at least familiar. My name is Meg Thompson. I was brought on about a year ago to help Adam McConnell with the special projects aspect of the city's work. So whatever you talk to Adam about, I'm probably working on that too, to give you some context. But one of the things that we want to dive into more is resiliency. And if you're not really sure what that word means, that's okay, because we're going to talk about that tonight. But if we could go to the next slide, we did do a lot of work last year to start building on what that's going to mean for us and what that work is going to look like. So a couple of quick highlights from last year is we actually had the South Carolina Office of Resiliency do a Resiliency 101 workshop for city staff. So we could start to talk about as a group, what does this mean to us? What is our work gonna look like? We also participated in Charleston County's Resiliency and Sustainability Symposium. There's a picture of the mayor there actually speaking on a panel with other area mayors about resiliency and sustainability for the region. And then just last week, we participated in the kickoff of the new Charleston County Resilience Collaborative. So the idea there is we're actually bringing in municipalities and stakeholders, agencies, organizations from around the county to work collaboratively instead of in silos around resiliency, because as you'll hear when we get further into this presentation, these issues don't necessarily pertain to municipality borders, right? They cross over. A smaller scale thing that I'm very proud of is we launched our first residential compost drop site in Councilmember Hudson's district. And then early this year, we launched our second one in Councilmember Ganaway Paisley's district. So we were starting to bring that service to the community as well. A very big one that we also did is we advanced from a class 7 to a class 5 in FEMA's CRS community rating system, which that brings about a 25% flood insurance premium discounts to residents in special flood hazard areas. So that's a real financial benefit to our community. So I just want to give a shout out to Eileen and Mike D and the rest of the team pictured there who brought that effort forward. So those are some of the things we did last year. A big goal for us going forward is to create kind of this internal, sorry, one more second guys, to create an internal working group around resiliency and actually have a resiliency representative or captain in each department so that we start to work a resiliency focused culture within the city of North Charleston and are able to work collaboratively on a team like that. One thing I did not mention is what we really want to focus on tonight, and I'm going to bring up Adelaide Bates from the Shy Institute to talk about a workshop that we hosted and kind of the outcomes and reports that we got from that.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight or having me join you all here tonight. Like Meg mentioned, my name is Adelaide Bates. I'm the Climate Resilience Manager at the Shy Institute at Furman University, and I'm excited to be here to talk about the workshop that we hosted this past June 2025. Quickly, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Shy Institute, we're an on-campus organization, but we focus on off-campus work. So we partner with communities across South Carolina to help them pursue more resilient and sustainable communities. We do this by connecting them to resources from the university, whether that's faculty, students, or staff like me. Okay, I do get the privilege of living in Charleston though, so I am a local, I'm here, even though I get the privilege of going up to Greenville. Just wanted to throw that out too. Okay, so I mentioned that we do work a lot with communities across South Carolina. We do this in many different ways, but primarily through the Southeast Navigator Network. This program was launched in 2024 is when I came to join the program, so a little bit after that. But this program really seeks to help community partners in building climate resilience by providing them tailored support. That support comes through a dedicated support person for South Carolina, that is myself, and technical assistance partners, one of which you'll hear about in just a second. We're currently working with 8 local governments across South Carolina. It's been really exciting to see the growing impact that the network has had. I know we can't get into all of it tonight, but I'm happy to chat about it at any time. But what we are here to talk about is what this network has been able to support North Charleston in working on. I've had the privilege of working with Meg, Adam, and many other folks at the city since early 2024, like I mentioned, but this past year was particularly special as the city of North Charleston was awarded technical assistance through a program from the Resilient Cities Catalyst. So the Resilient Cities Catalyst, like I mentioned, they're one of our technical assistance partners. They're a nonprofit. They help communities of all shapes and sizes to act more quickly on their urgent challenges and to build resilience. They do this in many different ways, and they do this across the nation, but also globally too. We've just been really fortunate. They've worked in the Southeast recently through this program, or had a special emphasis on the Southeast. What we were able to do with RCC's support is host what we keep calling this Resilience Accelerator Workshop. But in short, this workshop was just the goal, like the fruition of a goal of convening staff from across the jurisdiction and across departments to talk about the urgent challenges that our communities are facing, or that North Charleston communities are facing, and start setting what a shared resilient vision looks like for the community. Okay, I promised we would level set on resilience. We keep throwing this word at you. Resilience means a lot of things to many different people, but for the purposes of this presentation, we're going to define resilience as a community's ability to thrive despite its everyday stresses, the ones that Steve and Ryan mentioned, some of those rapid population growth and aging infrastructure, the need to build infrastructure more rapidly. But not just the everyday challenges, our sudden shocks as well too. Of course, we live in Charleston, in the Charleston region. It's beautiful, but it also has things like hurricanes. So it's important to think about, as our region grows rapidly, how are we also keeping in mind what sudden shocks might face our future at some point and how we can be prepared. So again, just keep in mind, our goal is that through all of these everyday challenges and the sudden ones, that we're figuring out not just how we can survive, but how we can thrive. So it's really hard to put into words the energy that was felt in this room today, so I've taken Tony's beautiful photos as my best attempt to do so. But it was wonderful to bring staff together to really talk about what those urgent challenges are and how they're impacting our communities and how they might lessen our resilience to major storms if we're not thinking about this proactively and creatively. And we also outlined areas where we can integrate resilience into staff's ongoing and upcoming work. I do want to take a second here. I did say it's very hard to put into words how incredible this day was. So I'm going to have Meg try to do her best from the staff perspective.
Sure. So if staff could do me a favor, if you were in the room that day, can you raise your hand just to give an idea? Here. Okay. So a lot of staff in the room actually said this was the first time they had ever participated in something like this. A lot of staff met each other for the very first time and were able to better understand how resilience impacts each other's work. The mayor and Councilmember Brown were also able to join us, so it was a really great opportunity to get together, talk about the issues that we're facing and how we can work together kind of out of the box way around these challenges. We're really looking forward to doing more of this.
Thanks, y'all. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, well, thank you all to everybody who contributed. I do greatly appreciate it, your energy and your time. Okay, so after this workshop, we had a few key outcomes that I want to highlight for you tonight. Those include, we did identify what city staff felt like were the top shocks and stressors that we wanted to focus on that day for the North Charleston community. The font is very small there, but as you can imagine, a lot of it's related to population growth and flooding. But in addition to identifying those challenges, we also outlined what we saw as a potential resilient vision for North Charleston, which we landed on where opportunity abounds. There's nothing official about this. It was just a fun way to come together and think creatively. However, the bulk of what I want to talk with you all tonight about is these reports that you see here. They're available in your packets and they're also available at that link too. They're for yourself as elected officials, but we also have areas for other audiences as well. So like I mentioned, part of our goal was to figure out how resilience can happen in cities' ongoing and upcoming work. And we did that by outlining clear opportunities for city staff where they could integrate it in, but also thought about how our community members, elected officials, businesses, and developers play a role in the resilience of North Charleston too. Okay, we're gonna dive into the elected officials guide that I mentioned here. As elected officials, you all play a very critical role in the resilience of your community. And of course, resilient communities require leadership to be thinking creatively and proactively about a lot of these challenges. And I'm here to provide a couple strategies on ways that you all can think about how as you make decisions in your roles and work towards building more resilient North Charleston. I also wanted to highlight there are some key opportunities coming up for North Charleston to keep resilience in mind, or you all as elected officials to keep resilience in mind. They might look familiar from their last presentation. That's because y'all have some awesome stuff coming up. That includes the Unified Development Ordinance rewrite, y'all will hear about in just a second, the transportation sales tax and greenbelt conversations that are happening as we speak, and the transit-oriented development studies that are currently underway for the Low Country Rapid Transit. So keep those in mind as we move forward. All right, I mentioned I have some high-level strategies for y'all to keep in your back pocket. For you to keep in your back pocket. These include, first, thinking beyond boundaries. Like Meg hinted at, our challenges, nor do our solutions, they don't stop at city districts and they don't stop at city limits, or council districts and city limits. So neither do those solutions. It's important to think about how decisions we make at all levels impact communities and how solutions can do the same thing. Of course, we want you all to consider guiding development towards resilience. As elected officials making development decisions, every development decision is an opportunity to advance the city's resilience goals. Of course, we always encourage you all to be looking for and seizing opportunities, whether it's a baby step or something big like the next Navy Yard project. I don't know if Steve will kill me if I say that. Just always be looking out for the next opportunity and seizing it when you can. Next slide. All right, final two high-level recommendations for you all to take with you include championing innovation and collaboration. As elected officials, you can lead by example by encouraging innovative pilot projects and cross-departmental or cross-district collaboration. And of course, last but not least, always looking to secure resources for long-term success. Resilience does take sustained investment, so it's important to keep in mind as you go through annual budgeting cycles and capital improvements, planning processes, seeking out and identifying new revenue streams. Make this okay. Okay, I threw a lot at you, but I wanted to end by sharing with you all and reminding you all that we are not alone in this, that many communities across the Southeast face very similar challenges, and they're starting to implement innovative solutions that we can look to for inspiration. I've listed a few out here today. I'm not gonna go over each one. There's many details in your packet if any speaks to you or you're particularly interested in. But I think what's exciting here is they're not particularly new for North Charleston, and I'm gonna let Meg speak to them.
Sure, yes. So we worked with Adelaide and the team at RCC to pick out examples that made sense for North Charleston and ones that we'd kind of already been looking at and felt like were really good comparables to where we're at. And some of them, staff have actually been to physically see these places. So this first one, Nashville, Tennessee, Gwen and Ryan and Adam actually went there last year with the Charleston Metro Chamber visit and were able to see it firsthand. And it is also a really good example, this East Bank redevelopment is a good example of what we should be thinking about as we move into redeveloping the Navy Yard and what that's going to look like for us. For Austin, with their strategic housing blueprint, as you all have probably heard by now, we've hired our first housing coordinator, Karen Thrower. Say hi, Karen. So we brought her on to bring a strategy to housing in the city, and we're also going to be using this chance with the Unified Development Ordinance to think strategically about how we can do more housing and better housing in the city of North Charleston. When it comes to the Charlotte example, we are very excited to do more community area planning focused on really specific areas and what they need. An example of how we're going to get to do that is with the transit-oriented development study that the COG is leading around the LCRT. That's going to give us chances to look at specific station areas and what those areas may need going forward. And then in Wilmington, we're really hoping to use the Greenbelt dollars that are part of that transportation sales tax conversation and our work with the Charleston Area Collaborative about resiliency to think about how we can do better, smarter flood mitigation. And finally, of course, we're going to be looking at the bus rapid transit in Richmond, Virginia as a regional example of what a BRT can look like as LCRT rolls out. And again, I just want to stress that if you're really interested, you have digital versions of these on the website. All of these have links, so if you want to do a deep dive on that project, please feel free, and then please come talk to us, ask us questions about them.
Thanks, Meg. All right, thanks y'all. I do really appreciate your time and attention on the matter. I've really enjoyed getting to work with city staff, and I hope to continue being a part of y'all's resilience journey as you move forward on resilience in North Charleston.
Any questions from the council? Thank you. All right, we have the UDO update. UDO update.
Is the PDF okay? Okay. I'm Christy Dodson. I will introduce some more folks from our team, but I want to start off just by thanking you for your time. It is 6 p.m. and we're going to talk about the Unified Development Ordinance, right? Like I promise this is important, as you all know, and I'm going to try to make it fun. We got some questions for you all at the end, so I really want this to be engaging. We want to hear from you because we are at the very beginning of this process. So we are here and our team has been here for the past couple days, and we have primarily been listening. We spent the entire day yesterday touring the community, and so we are here to learn and help figure out with you and for you how we can make a new UDO that serves the needs of the future of the city for the next 20, 50 years. So we are early on in this process. I want you to hear that. Go to the next slide, please. And if you hit Control L, you should be able to do full screen. And then you can use the arrow keys. Awesome. So what is the UDO? Should start it off with that. So right now, you have a set of development regulations that exist in various chapters throughout your municipal code. So you have zoning in one chapter, you have subdivision, you have your road code, engineering standards, and they're scattered throughout. They have been updated incrementally as you've had different issues come up over time. They don't necessarily work particularly well together, as you all know from having negotiated a lot of things like PDDs. You're having to resolve a lot of conflicts. Your ordinances aren't getting you the type of development that you necessarily want to see in your community. And you're having to do a lot of one-off negotiation, project by project by project. So what a unified ordinance does, a UDO does, is it unifies all of those, basically anything that you need to do to build a project. It unifies all of that into one chapter. We are gonna update and include best practices nationwide that make sense for North Charleston. And those will we'll resolve all of those things that exist as conflicts today. All of those things that, you know, aren't necessarily resolved between chapters. When you bring them all together and we streamline all of those, it makes them so much more user-friendly. It becomes so much more clear. And most importantly, it starts to align all of these planning and visioning projects and goals that you've set out. It actually tailors your ordinances to have that hit the ground in development. Whereas right now you're having to essentially negotiate project by project. Oh, this is what we say in the vision. Let me negotiate how to get that out of it. What a UDO does is it bakes that into the system. So we want to make sure that your laws that are governing development are actually moving you toward the goals that you've set out for the future. And most importantly, if you go to the next slide, we want to make sure that this code is just clear and user-friendly, transparency, predictability, and it gets you positive development outcomes for residents, for businesses, for neighborhoods. We really want this to be a win for the community. And just as a simple example of that, the snapshot on the left is of your existing code. Even if you just took the exact same standards you had today and laid it out in tables with graphics like you do on the right, that instantly becomes a much more usable document. It's more usable for your staff, it's more usable for your community to understand, oh, this is the type of development we want to have. And so it's just simply laying that out in a much more user-friendly fashion makes it more usable. And that's really the goal, is that predictability, that transparency, so that you all as a community are saying, here's the type of development future we want in North Charleston. How does this fit into all the things you've been doing, right? You know, you heard about the Reality Check 2.0, you heard about the resiliency, you just adopted an update to your comprehensive plan. These all set the policies, as you all know. They're setting out the goals and the vision. The UDO is what is actually going to codify that. It's going to make that law. That's why it's really important. So part of this process is making sure, are we getting the right takeaways from these documents? And making sure that we're codifying them, and then ultimately they result in those better outcomes. So we're living in that middle piece right here of updating the UDO to reflect those strategic documents and goals. To reflect on your comprehensive plan, these are the 4 pillars. They should be familiar to you. And I think part of what's important when we talk about a UDO is understanding what a UDO can do, and also what it can't do. So what a UDO does is it sets a really strong foundation. So these are the laws, as I've said, that govern development, but that's not the only thing you have to do. It's not a silver bullet. It sets a really strong foundation for regulating the development and the future of the community. Once you have that in place, it makes those other policies and programs, like the housing programs that Karen is going to be thinking about, the affordable housing, and those subsidies, small business support, all of those other programs sit on top of a good UDO. And a good UDO makes those programs and policies more impactful. So it's the foundation for you to start doing these other funding, these other programs and policies. So some of the comprehensive plan elements that we will be building on. So what a UDO can do, livability and quality of life. A UDO can expand housing opportunity, can expand housing options. And so that includes different types of housing in different places, new housing. It can also make sure that while we're doing that, providing new housing, we're also improving conditions in existing neighborhoods. So it's not one or the other, it can do both. Sustainable and resilient growth. So you just heard some about the resilience resiliency plan. Because the UDO touches things like stormwater elements, how parking lots need to be landscaped, we can start to write rules for how development starts to interact with the natural environment. That's obviously really important in the low country. So we can bake in a lot of these best practices, innovative solutions, increase access to parks and open space, making sure that we're integrating that into development as growth occurs. Economic opportunity, it can encourage investment. And just that usability, it helps streamline the planning and development process so that if you're a small business and you wanna buy the little building next door and do small improvements, right? Local development, buy the community, that small business entrepreneurship. A good UDO can help streamline that process, make it more attainable, lower those barriers. And mobility and connectivity, it can help increase that mobility and connectivity by doing things like supporting safe routes to places by having good streetscape standards, making sure we have safe sidewalks. Trees, it's hot here. It's good that we need trees for stormwater. We also need trees for shade. So your UDO can bake in those elements into future development. So how are we gonna do this? So just to give you a bit of a background of like, why am I the person that's here standing talking to you about this? The Firm Code Studio, we have been a firm since 2006. We are based in Austin. I'm actually based in Atlanta, so just up the road from y'all. And we have worked with communities, large and small, every sides of the spectrum, communities that are declining and communities that are growing really, really quickly. So we have seen a lot of different practices, and so we try to take all these issues and practices that we've seen across the nation and figure out how we can tailor those best practices to what works for each individual community. So we're not taking a formula, we're taking lessons learned, we're listening a lot to the community and figuring out how to write a code specific for your needs. And we think about things like fostering a dynamic, vibrant, pedestrian-friendly neighborhood. So we think about both how can a code work for areas that have no development today, but also how can that code work for areas that need redevelopment? Maybe they're a shopping center that is vacant and needs redevelopment. So we want to make sure we have a code for both. We have a lot of experience doing that. And fundamentally, we believe that code should be accessible, easy to use. It can be a form of gatekeeping when codes are really legal, they're hard to understand, and we want to make sure this is a code that the community understands, that you all have buy-in for, and usability and easily to understood regulations are a significant part of that. These are a few of the communities we've worked in nationwide, but I think more importantly for this project and what I'm really excited about is that we have a really incredible local team. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that, so that's myself in the top left there. Hizzy is here, my team right there. And Lee Einsweiler is not with us today. So we are the sort of national experts, but everyone else on our team is local to the Charleston metro area, and they are incredible technical experts and local experts. So we have Aaron and Joseph here today. With Circulus, they have deep experience in landscape architecture, urban design. We have Fatika and her team. Fatika's here. She's going to talk with you a bit as well. And she has a really incredible team. Caroline, Jessica, and LaCrystal. They are engagement experts. Fatika is, you'll talk a little bit about it. So Fatika is raised by Charleston. Yes. You said it. And incredible expertise and just trust in the community. And we're really excited about that on this project. And then we have other technical experts who are also local to the team. If you go to the next slide. And we have Revere Group, so Rhett and Morgan. I believe Morgan's here. Is she here? Yes, Morgan. So engineering team, they understand stormwater regulations, they understand stormwater in Charleston, in North Charleston, in the Charleston metro area. We have Laura and Kara with Middleton Group architects that have developed under your current code. They understand what development looks like. Christina, who is a preservation expert, and Andy Gowder, who is a legal counsel. We make sure this is a legally sound code. So I think this team really brings an incredible mix of national best practice and deep local knowledge. It's really exciting. To give you an idea of where we are, again, I want to emphasize we are early in this project. We have not even announced a public kickoff. You are part of the kickoff trip right now. So we are very early in this process. This will be at least an 18-month process. And to give you a sense of what some of those tasks are, so we are just diving in right now. We're trying to understand the context, what a lot of those goals are that you currently have, how we should be talking about engagement plan. Fatika is going to cover that a bit. And that's going to help us create a framework for what this future UDO is going to look like. After that, we will go into code drafting. And you will be seeing drafts of that as we go through that drafting process. That will result in a public review draft, and then that will go through the formal adoption process. It is a piece of legislation. One thing I do want to emphasize, there will be engagement throughout this process. It's going to be incredibly important. I believe the mayor has said this is one of the biggest engagement efforts that will have taken place in the city. So with that, I want to hand it to Fatika to go through some of the engagement pieces we're looking at.
Good evening, everybody. As Christy said, I'm Tatika Robinson with the SECO Group. I am Charleston's baby, as I like to say. I was raised in the little nook of Somerville between Somerville proper and Monk's Corner and Sangaree, and I have lived just about almost in every community in Charleston. And my roots go to Guatemala and Johns Island, and also my grandparents raised my mom and her siblings downtown. So Charleston is special to me, and so is City of North Charleston. And so having the opportunity to work with this team is very personal, and understanding and listening to the team and various stakeholders, including yourself, over these last few days has been really important. And what keeps rising up that we can't deny, but also celebrate, is the City of North Charleston is very unique and different. And so we do know that there are a lot of people who identify by where they live, and they call that more like, here's the neighborhood that I'm from. But a lot of times they don't speak of it like, I live in the City of North Charleston as a whole. But this particular project and process is going to impact the whole city as a whole. And so our goal is to make sure that we are bringing the most diverse representation of what community engagement looks like and outreach, and leveraging that with educating people so that they understand, what is this UDO, how is it going to impact me, and why should I lean in, and that it's not just for a homeowner or for a business owner, but it is for anyone who is here, anyone that calls this place and space home. They are very important, and without them, this place would be nothing. It's the heartbeat of the community. And so as we have done in the past, we've done a variety of different outreach and engagement strategies, and we are not a phone it in firm. I will tell you right now, we're very authentic in the way that we approach, and we lean into what the overall strategy and goal is for the project. And then we work from there, understanding the makeup. And I will tell you right now, as someone who is from here, I don't always approach I do not approach any project assuming like, oh, well then we gotta do this and this and this. I never do that. I always look at it from, what's the overall goal? What are the challenges and what are the strengths that we have in this project? And then we develop the strategy around that. And so within that being said, some of the examples of some of the things we've done is like some open houses that are very intentional to having the most diverse representation in the room and making sure people see themselves in the room, but also have already built that relationship with them before they get there. So what I don't like is when someone comes to you and they only come to you when they have something they have for you and they need you to come. I like to say that's a come hither. Don't come hither me. Build a relationship with me from the beginning so that when you see me, you know that I'm coming because I have something to share with you and it's important and I value your voice. So I like to say, like, if you have any important relationships in your life, you don't just come to them and call them when you need something, because after a while they're not gonna answer. So, and then you can't ask, why aren't people paying attention? Well, you only come to me when you need something. And so we look at various ways to engage the community through open house, through tours, meaning that we bring them into the space and place so they can understand and point out what this UDO will be. Virtual meetings, understanding that people have children, they have families, they have responsibilities, people are transitioning in life. They don't always have time to come to a public meeting, even though that would be great, but we have to offer various ways for people to engage and meet them where they are. Also having pop-ups in places that they can recognize and feel most comfortable in, transitioning those places into opportunities to engage and create opportunities for them to get information and also respond. And then also canvassing. There's nothing wrong with old school pounding the pavement, and letting people see you in their streets and their community to know that I'm not too good to get out of my car and walk in your community. I see you and I want you to see me. Next. And then also understanding how big the city of North Charleston is, whether we look at it crossing over through your districts, crossing over through neighborhoods, crossing over through, north, central, south. However you look at it, this community is very diverse across the board. It's the most diverse overall. And so we also know that within a diverse community, there's going to be things that are very important. One community might have all the things that they deem safe and they're good to go with access. Another might say, we don't have any of that, but this is still our home to us. So taking in consideration all those things, the things that we know are very important are the affordable housing and livability, access to healthy and fresh food, transit-oriented development, equitable economic growth as well as workforce and development, and we leave room for whatever else might come up from the community. So with that being said, can you go back? Thank you.
So, I mean, these are our goals that we're starting with, because I
No,
don't
no,
know, I don't know that we really have a definition of what the vision overall is supposed to look like.
No, it's,
So I realize that y'all are putting together,
Mhm.
You're bringing together all the ordinances.
right.
So you're gonna have a pop-up to talk about what? I mean, the ordinance, you're bringing it back from what's already there. So I think without knowing exactly what the goal is, maybe I'm missing something here
So
along
this
the
is-
process.
This is not a goal that's connected to
Right,
UDO.
what I'm saying
but
is, so all of those, I could see potential being part of the goal, right? And all of
mhm.
those things are very important.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that the city itself doesn't necessarily have a goal that I know of
Mhm.
that's already been established. So what are we working towards as opposed to just rewriting the ordinances?
Well, I think, and I'll let you
No,
finish, but
no,
I
you can answer this.
Well, I think that.
It's not mine.
Right, Kenny, what we looked at is, when Mayor Bourne got here in 72, they sat down on porches and they just started writing things up. They got a little bit from other areas. So basically, we've been riding on that wave from 1972, change a little bit here and there, but this is 2026. I was born in 65. What we did back then, you can't do now. So that's one of the best, it was a good year, because we're not here. But that's what I think they're doing, they're taking a look at the new practices, new
Yeah.
way of doing things, innovative way. As a matter of fact, I told them today that I had a situation in my home, in my yard, that I wanted to go past what they call a setback. And I was restricted to do that. But there are some communities that have no choice to go with those setbacks. And I think we need to take a good hard look of how things have changed today. Some communities you can't put gables on the homes, and we've got this situation, we have the mural in Park Circle. See, things like that, we need to be more open-minded and look at the best practices in other cities and other towns and say, okay, it's time for us to almost get with the program.
So our goal is to modernize the city.
There you go. Go ahead, Councilman.
I like that.
That's a store warrior.
That's
That's a store warrior right there.
That's
This is giving us a more proactive approach, right, in terms of what we're looking forward to and what North Charleston will look like in the next potential 20 years. Because the way it's written, the ordinance are written now from the 1970s, we can't exceed and excel as a city under those current ordinances. We have to be more proactive in terms of where growth is going, we see it. And so we have to start addressing that now.
That's the North Charleston Cougar agreement.
Yeah.
But Stall came first.
Okay. No. It was 1922.
Long before.
1922. So.
I'm talking about speaking of name.
Thank you.
Okay,
We got that out of the way.
okay.
You're right.
You're good, okay.
I think to give you a bit of practical context for that as well, if you'll flip back several slides to the timeline, there you go. So that project, the task one initiation, we're in the information gathering phase of like, what do your plans say that your vision is? And then task two is basically to say, can we confirm that? Like, let's go, that's part of what we're working with Fatiga and her team on of, how do we go into the community, conversations with you all, and confirm, like, are these the right goals? Is this the right vision? So that is the whole point of that UDO framework, to say, before we go draft anything, because we don't want to spend a lot of hours drafting you a code that's not going to get you the vision that you want. So we're going to spend several months just talking about what that vision is and just making sure that we understand, and that vision is probably going to look different in different places of the city, right? Like, you have a diverse set of communities and just physically on the ground, that development looks different. And it may want to look different 20 years from now. And so we want to make sure we understand what that is before we go draft anything and give you something that's not going to give you the outcomes you want. Yes.
That you're starting out with, the vision?
The plans, yeah, so the
And that's your-
comprehensive plan is one of the
That's what I
key
thought.
things that we're looking at. There are some description of land use in there, for example, so there's a map in the comprehensive plan that, you know, says this area is a traditional neighborhood. Highlights the bus rapid transit areas, that's another piece we're looking at. There's been a lot of planning work around those, the LCRT lines and thinking about what development could look like in the future. So that's another piece of it. Are there other plans, staff? There are a couple of others. Those are the big ones? Okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna have folks pop up and help me answer questions. I do wanna move to the questions. And so I'm gonna have y'all talk to me now.
I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to, cause you know, usually people come to the neighborhood to speak in support of, or when it comes to UDOs, it kind of takes away, or does, like, how do you address it taking away like the public voice? So like, you know, in certain instances, you may have neighborhoods that wanna come and speak, or residents who wanna speak on a change, but that, it'll be more based on staff approval versus in the public opinion. So that'll kind of take away like the transparency of what's really going on when it comes to projects, in a sense, correct, as well too, right?
It depends on what's in your ordinance.
Okay.
So it, and if I get too in the weeds, tell me. But everywhere in the city today has a zoning category. They're assigned a zoning district. You know, if you look at any property online, and if that set of rules for that zoning district doesn't let you do what you want to do, then you have to rezone that property.
Right.
That's where that
That's what we
conversation
do.
comes in.
Right.
And what the opportunity for the UDO does, there are different approaches. We can rewrite the ordinance and the rules to just be more clear, but essentially result in similar outcomes to what you have today. So then if someone would want to do something bigger, different, you know, maybe a different use that's not allowed, then they would still have to rezone. So there will still be opportunities to rezone.
So not just rezoning, just like other like ordinance, what is like an ordinance, like ordinances, so if it's one specific universal ordinance, would there also still be an opportunity to create other ordinances outside of the universal rules? So like if it's a one-off exception to different businesses or exceptions of, you know, is that still an option even
Yes,
under
yes.
UDO?
Yes,
Okay.
so there will still be those processes. So all the ones that you have today, if like
And will it still
special
be like
use-
presented to the public, like, would the public still have an option? Like how now we go through the planning process, we go to planning, so and then we come to council, would that still be a process, or would it just
Yes.
straight through staff and on the board? It still would have to be voted on?
It still would have to be voted on.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and you will have to vote on the whole new ordinance as well
But I understand that, but I wanna know after,
after.
would
Yeah.
those, like, even outside of zoning,
Yeah.
would those things still be something that'd be presented publicly and, you know, be publicly and voted on as a council?
Yes, it does. Yes, those processes will still exist.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, good question. Any other specific questions about that? I do wanna, if you all are willing to share, have a couple questions that, you know, again, as I mentioned, we are really in the information gathering stage and, you know, confirmation of like, the vision that's in the plan, is that really what we wanna see? So the first question we have for you all, if you're willing to share concerns about development that you hear most from the community. What are some of the concerns?
I would say in District 5, we hear a lot about the increased property taxes, gentrification,
Gentrification,
things like
property
that. I
tax.
think most homeowners in my district are concerned about either not having enough or the growth affecting their pocket. Really, it's gonna be property taxes what I hear the most about. Those are
Okay.
on, those that are on a strict income, things like that.
Yeah. So as property around them gets redeveloped,
Correct. yeah.
even though the
Concern.
increase in value, like that may cause an increase in property tax, and some concern around that, yeah.
What has been happening through the communities, so changing away from traditional how it built, houses
Yeah.
built. Where I start seeing a lot is more of two stories, much narrower, taking a lot of space. I think it's more density is taking place. I think that's gonna be one of the key parts for the people in the community. I like to keep communities traditional communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the sort of look and feel of the character of the place.
Same.
Yeah, yeah, same in both of your districts.
You know, with North Charleston being a growing city with access to major transportation hubs, you know, including the international airport, ports and highways. Some of the concerns that has been raised to me is about good paying jobs that are coming in and hiring companies that are coming in, actually hiring people in the city of North Charleston. And that will give them a decent salary, helping reduce unemployment and support the local economy. Has been some concerns.
Yeah, sort of big companies coming in, but it's like, who's that benefiting?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get a grip on that.
I think most individuals in my district are concerned about just development, just increasing their drive time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The infrastructure doesn't support the development.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest,
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying,
Yeah.
Councilman.
We are far behind in our infrastructure. Very far. The mayor and I are gonna get helicopters.
Hey, I'm from Atlanta, I know traffic. Yeah, infrastructure. Any other concerns you want to share? Couple more questions. Okay, we'll go on to the next question. So sort of flipping a similar question, but turning it on its head, what aspirations for North Charleston do you want to see reflected in the new UDO? So as, you know, you are seeing growth pressures. So close your eyes, you know, 20 months from now, a new UDO is in place. How is it changing those growth pressures? What does that new development look like? What aspirations would you have for that?
So I've got two right off the bat. One would be business regulations, anything that affects directly a business. And then the next one would be just general permitting. The permitting I get from folks that would do work on their residents, work that's being done in businesses, things like that, are things that I think would be better if they were streamlined. It looked like what you had up there looked like it would be in one spot.
Yeah.
It's like-
So making it easier for businesses to get their licensing and like if they want to do improvements, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that and as well as the staff being able to manage that system
Okay.
more efficiently and effectively.
Makes sense, you know, to support small businesses and entrepreneurs by making it easier to start or operate a business in the city.
I honestly feel that I would have to kind of look into more models to even make a decision as if I would even say a UDO is something that we would need, because this is my first time hearing about it, so I don't really wanna adopt something I don't really have much knowledge of, so I would prefer to look into other cities to see the model, to see exactly how it benefits or those areas prior to saying this is something that we're gonna do. I don't remember seeing it, this is something we're gonna do.
Yeah, and I'm happy to get with staff too. We can have some examples for you to flip through. I'm happy to answer questions you have about that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What other aspirations? I'm hearing a lot about small business, want to make it easy for, you know, local entrepreneurship.
I think it's all about streetscape
Okay.
and the
Yeah.
way things look and, you know, changing, you know, if you drive in parts of the city, you know, we got the real nice decorative arms and it looks one way. We drive in another part of the city and it doesn't look like that. So I think, you know, like if you drive down, you know, Coleman Boulevard in Mount Pleasant, it hasn't always looked the way that it looks now. But it looks a whole lot better than it did, you know, in 1992. So hopefully part of the vision is going to change the way the entire city looks, right? And improve the look of, you know, I was in another city this week and, you know, they've had a lot of people that have left the city and all, and it's in a state of disrepair and, you know, but making the ordinances, you know, hold those businesses and whoever's developing accountable to where all of that, you know, is developed to a standard that we want.
Yeah, everyone's kind of doing their fair share.
You know?
Yes.
Which is
'Cause
basically what we do on Ingleside Boulevard. I mean, they're all held to a particular standard. The street is beautiful, it has the big sidewalks, the trees in the middle, the lighting, yeah.
Lights.
Yeah, great example.
and not, because I know you guys were on council for many years, and it's not your blame, because if you take a look at our city, some of our neighborhoods came in the city before the remainder of it.
For the city, what
I mean,
is
see, the city, it was Liberty Hill, Park Circle, really at first, when the city got together. And then everything else got annexed in, you know, along the way. Union Heights, I think, Ackerby, Wayland, and those areas came in at a certain time. So what has happened, my vision is like, when you bring something in, you need to make sure you bring it up as much as you can, on the same level as what has already been there.
Yeah.
And I think that takes, you know, UDO, but it also takes, revenues as well. So if you don't have the revenue and you want to buy the new Jordans, you're not gonna put them on your feet unless you have the money to get it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, it's like, I think a lot of these areas, if you look at North Charleston, I mean, these people can tell you when a certain neighborhoods came into the city. You know, and the core of it was always, always here, but everything else was just, okay, we bring you in, you're in. I mean, if you look at the Wayland, MD can tell you that, he talks about it, the Wayland basically looks the same way. It's structured the same way. Nothing's really kind of put into that to bring it up to par with the other places of, in North Charleston. So that's something that we have to take a hard look at as well.
There's certain sections of the city that has been looking the same for the last 45 years, where other parts of it has had severe or major growth to it. So I think we need to build a vibrant, attractive neighborhoods for both residents and visitors.
I think the UDO can help, come up with some creative ideas to do things like that. Like we were talking about some of the streetscapes, I think we did something with new development where they're gonna be required to have sidewalks and things like that, tree development. I think even though it's expensive, this is a great way to utilize another revenue stream to get some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a great creative idea.
And then final question I have for you all, it's a similar question, but I wanna make sure if you go to the next slide. What does success look like? Is there anything else you wanna share for, as we're thinking about this vision and 20 years from now, what does success look like? Anything else you wanna add? And I should say, as you're thinking about this, after you leave this meeting in the next several months, we will be available to hear that feedback. We will be asking communities the same thing in a lot of different ways as we start to understand and hone in on this vision. So this is the first time I'm asking, it is certainly not the last that we'll be asking you these questions. Anything else you all wanna share? Okay. Well, let's get to work. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And as I said, you will be hearing a lot from us over the next 18 months. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, before I finish on my side of town, we have the short-term rental, we have a council group that's made up of the short-term rental subcommittee, as well as we have some city employees. The city employees that's on the short-term rental is Tim McCall, Andrew, Eileen, Kelly, Chris, Gwen, Nate, and Tanya. Now, what we have to do is, we have to select a new chairperson, and we need to be appointed to replace a council member that's no longer here. And so we're gonna actually, we have two council positions. So we added Councilman Greg Perry, and we added Councilman MD on that 5 panel. And then I just mentioned other parts of the subcommittee. And so you guys gotta get together, coordinate a meeting to discuss and how to propose the changes needed for further discussions at the COW. All right. Okay. So Brandon, who's the chairperson of your group?
We didn't really have a chair, but I've been kind of putting it together just recently, so.
Oh, it was Mike one?
Mike one was.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Mike one.
Oh,
Alright.
okay, well then we didn't have a chair.
Okay.
Don't anymore.
Yeah, so you guys get together, you 5 get together and select a chairperson.
Okay.
That person would actually kind of lead it
Yeah,
out.
we're putting together, I'm working with planning department to put together an agenda. So we'll hope to have something
Thank you.
soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, all hearts and mind clear with mine. Any other business come before the committee of the whole? All right. I am done.
You hit it again. Call to order, Public Safety Committee meeting. This is for the 19th of February, but the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from January. Well, I'll wait till you guys leave.
Power on through. Good seeing you, man. I'll text you tomorrow. I'm so sorry. I owe you lunch. Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry.
Before you begin,
Yes,
can we have all our city employees stand up, please, who are in here, all the city employees? Okay, I just want y'all to recognize when you guys come to these meetings that we have the city employees here, and they're here, they're the ones that help prepare this whole committee, whole committee meetings, and they're very valuable, and we wanna thank you all, we really appreciate you all doing what you do, because the impacts are out in our community, so thank you all very much.
Okay, first item up is the minutes from January the 15th, 2006. Need approval for those minutes meetings.
For approval.
Second.
It's moved and second. Any question or concerns? It's all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the next item is an ordinance rezoning a portion of property addresses 1657 East Montague Avenue, Charleston County TMS 470-0300-128, 1.13 acres from R1 Single Family Residence to B1 Limited Business Council District 8.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and second. Okay. Oh, not yet. I got some speakers. Yes. I think the first one I have is Miss Hester McFadden.
Yes, ma'am.
And please state your name and address for the record.
Certainly, thank you. My name is Hester Green McFadden. Address is 303 Running View Lane, Somerville, South Carolina, 29485. To the mayor and members of council, I stand here as the president of the Liberty Hill Historical and Genealogical Society. So very honored to serve as president. And our group has decided collectively that we're opposed to this change. We want to say, in fact, that when we think about Liberty Hill as a neighborhood, we're a neighborhood, the oldest neighborhood in the city of North Charleston, established in 1871. And we would love for you all to consider the fact that the proposed change would bring about limited businesses in the area that is adjacent to Royal Baptist Church, a very vibrant church family. There are activities 7 days out of the week. And when we think about the traffic, we think about the transition, we think about a lot of disruption in that area because of new businesses. Now, we need businesses, don't get us wrong, we need businesses, but we need the kinds of businesses that would benefit the community, that would benefit the citizens of Liberty Hill, generated from within and nurtured by folks in the community. We really need resources, we need help, we need support, we need just folks to understand that we can begin to expand beyond the perimeters, but we just need help. We need to invest not only in businesses, but also in people. We need folks to understand that Liberty Hill is a prideful community. We love our community. We have a strong history. We collect information, we're about preserving the community, and we're just about ready to submit our paperwork to get on the National Register. Things look very, very promising. We're just at the cusp of getting that done. So we ask you to consider our request to deny this change as far as the zoning is concerned. Thank you.
Next person is Mr. Darrell Milligan. Mr. Milligan, can you please state your address?
My name is Darrell Milligan, but I'm basically here. Address 4761 Luella Avenue, North Charleston, 29405. I'm here actually representing Royal Baptist Church. She already touched on some of the factors involved, but we are against the actual development, and we hope that the council members will in fact vote against it. She touched on some of the things as far as the congestion, some of the traffic, some of the issues associated with the fact that that particular area, even though it's very long, width-wise, it's very small. So it is gonna create some issues there. But really, to sum it up, a few minutes ago when you all were going around this table and talking about different things that were a big concern, somebody touched on something that sums up what the problem is. And this was somebody's exact words. The infrastructure doesn't support the development, so we are against it. Thank you.
Next person is Tanisha Johnson. Ms. Johnson, could you also state your residence?
Good evening, Tanisha Johnson, 437 Thoroughbred Drive in Monk's Corner, South Carolina. But I'm representing 4960 Gaynor Avenue here. I had a lot of thoughts in my head, so I had to write it down, so please bear with me as I do read. All right. Again, my name is Dr. Tanisha Johnson. I wish to clearly state that I oppose the proposed rezoning of the property at 1657 East Montague Avenue for commercial use. Liberty Hill was established in 1871, shortly after the Civil War, as a settlement for freed people. The surviving neighborhood in North Charleston. Its streets, homes, and communities, institutions embody generations of Black history, culture, and resilience. Official recognition of Liberty Hill as an historic community will honor the lives and contributions of its founders, safeguard its architectural and cultural heritage, and ensure the preservation of this significant chapter in local and national future generations. Liberty Hill represents my childhood. I spent every summer and every Christmas in this neighborhood. I would walk the streets from the morning until the street light came on. Street light. But I never was afraid because the neighborhood, the community looked out. And my grandparents and my aunts and my mama knew when I was coming down because people was calling saying she's on her way. She's on her way. Never felt afraid. Liberty Hill is a community rather than a business district. It is a place for families, for porches, block parties, and the quiet routines of daily life. With Park Circle, Tanger Outlets, Topgolf, and the nearby hotels already serving the commercial needs, there is no necessity to convert Liberty Hill into another commercial zone. Preserving its status as a residential historic neighborhood maintains the people, memories, and sense of belonging that define Liberty Hill's unique character. Gentrification would undermine the essence of Liberty Hill by displacing long-standing families, erasing cultural landmarks, and replacing a close-knit family with transient, profit-oriented developments. Increased property values and taxes would force elders and working families who have resided here for generations to leave, thereby disrupting social ties and informal support systems. Historic homes and gathering places could be demolished or significantly altered, severing tangible connections to the neighborhood's origins as a settlement for freed people. This would result in the loss of intergenerational knowledge and the daily rhythms such as, again, porch conversations, childhood freedoms, and community events that make Liberty Hill a home rather than a commodity.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Tania Balette. Tanya,
It's Tanya.
okay.
Good evening, Mayor Burgess and council members. I'm not going, excuse me, my address is 1516 Cantwell Street. I actually reside on Liberty Hill. I'm not going to be redundant because I have many of the same other items that the previous speakers spoke of, but I do want to say that I respectfully oppose the request to rezone the rear portion of the property at 1657 East Montague Avenue. It's also significant that the planning staff has recommended disapproval. The planning commission has recommended disapproval, and the community, which held a meeting on January the 15th, 2026 in this very room, we also voted opposition to this rezoning. So when professional planners, appointed commissioners, and residents are aligned, that consensus deserves meaningful consideration. I respectfully ask that you honor the recommendations before you and let this decision affirm your commitment to the thoughtful and consistent planning. Thank you for your time and your service.
Adina?
No, he's on, I am.
You guys heard from the residents, you've heard, there's a motion on the floor for. No, get him next, you're number 3, I'm sorry. Yeah. The motion on the floor is for approve. Any comments from council?
Yeah, so this is the second time that this one's come through. The first time it came through, they wanted to rezone. So it's a split zoning if you look at the map. So it's B1 on the front of the parcel already. And so and then the back of the parcel is zone R1. So originally, the developer wanted to leave the front B1 and then do R2 in the back and do some sort of townhome development or something like that. But the planning commission, like 30 people came out and said that, and this has been a consistent thing in Liberty Hill, is that they're not comfortable with R2 zoning because of the multifamily component, right? So they like the single family homes. So they withdrew. They met with me and the mayor. They met with the Liberty Hill Alliance. They had a community meeting, and what kind of came out of that was that the parcel's it's landlocked, so it only touches Montague, and so to finish rezoning it B1 would give it single family if you developed it with single family homes behind, it would be single family homes. So the concern there was the taxes. If you're building single family homes, they're going to potentially comp against single family homes in the neighborhood. If you go B1, you're talking about business. You're talking about, again, it's B1, not B2, which across the street, by the way, is completely B2. So we're talking about a lighter use than even across the street. And the thought was, and Sam Hart, who lives next door, was at those meetings and involved in these conversations, and the support behind this is that single family homes would come in at a price point that would not benefit the community. We're talking about just probably in the $500,000-600,000 plus range. And so what would be a better benefit, which would not directly impact home values, would be to go with a B1. And again, you've got Roper coming, so a lighter use, a small office complex of some kind that's gonna tend to be a 9 to 5. It's not gonna interfere a lot with people as they're coming and going, so it's not gonna be a tremendous traffic concern. So again, that is how we have come here. I know I spoke with planning department. They recommended approval on the R2, right? Like that was there when it came through. They recommended approval on the R2 because the comprehensive plan says it's split zoned. We want to do housing as you get further back in the neighborhood. However, the neighborhood, the residents came out and said, we don't want multifamily, so again, that was off the table. So, I personally feel like we're trying to thread a needle here, and I don't, if R2, I respect that R2 concerns the neighborhood. I understand that. And but R1 is just not gonna be, it's not gonna be economically viable. It's not gonna have the desired result. So at the end of the day, we really have limited choices here. Because if you're building single family homes, they're gonna be too expensive. And again, the affordability component, right? We wanna see more affordable homes. I think, and again, I would love to see R2 on the property, but that's not what the neighborhood wants.
Right.
And I think if we're looking at what potential uses work there, I really think B1 is about the best we're gonna be able to do.
Thank you, sir. Any other members, council members?
And I know the developer is here, if we wanna let them speak.
Wait.
Okay.
We signed up this morning, we had for anyone to speak. Council member, yes.
The entire lot's vacant though now? I mean,
Yes.
There's nothing on the lot at all?
Yeah, totally vacant. And I do have, there was another thing I wanted, sorry.
Thank you. Any other council members on this item? Yes.
No, go ahead.
We've had this discussion, Councilman Hudson and I have spoke about it. And I understand that at the first planning commission meeting, the community came out and spoke against R2. And then now we're having community members come out to speak against the B1, rezoning for B1. I would like to know from the community members that are here, what's changed? Because we had the R2 where it's zoned right now, and then now the community was against R2. Now the community is against the B1 rezoning. What's made the difference? The community members who spoke before, what's made the difference? Because I'm not sure, I wasn't at the planning commission meeting and it got taken off of our agenda the first time. So for those who spoke against the rezoning now, by a show of hands, you can raise your hands. Did you speak against the R2 then as well? Or were you in support of the R2? Yes, no? Who supported I'm trying to figure out what's changed. I can't ask them a question.
You can, but you're not getting any response.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out what's changed, right? Because we had one. Right.
I don't know if the others were, but I was not aware of that meeting where we could have spoke. Now, I came to the meeting where somebody took it off the agenda. I sat here in this room by myself and nobody showed up because it was canceled.
Got it.
So therefore, I knew about that meeting. But the other meeting, how many of you all knew about it to come to speak up?
So to my point, right. To my point, I don't think the community really were aware. I think there's a nucleus that's called the community that's been driving the initiative, and I don't think the full community, the residents who live on Liberty Hill, those who own property on Liberty Hill, have had the opportunity to have a voice. So I think that's why we're here now. There's not been a full, to the developers, unfortunately, you've not had a full opportunity to truly engage the full community. I think that's where the problem is. Rezoning for a B1 business district of this magnitude in the heart of Liberty Hill does not fit the aesthetics. We've been hearing time and time again on council how we want to protect the historical aspect of Liberty Hill. We want to protect the aesthetics. We don't want 2-story homes. We don't want 3-story homes. Well, what's the difference now from a business perspective? For those now who support the rezoning for business, it's going to be the same concept. That lot is too small to go up. They're only going to be able to go out. They're going to only be able to go up. So if you're willing to accept a 2-story building, business building, then we can accept the 2-story single-family homes.
Chairman,
I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Chair.
It's a lot of residents getting.
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold
yeah,
on.
let me-
I'm right, yes.
Chairman, Adam, can you stand up? You at
Adam is hiding.
Stand up, Okay, all right, yeah. Now, I, you know, it's like, Councilman, Palmer Roberts said. It's like, there were two things was brought to Liberty Hill. One was to rezone it, to, R1 on the side, and then also now B1, right? Now,
R2.
Yeah, R2, I'm sorry. So, if, let's say for instance now, cause I want forward, I want y'all to hear this, you guys, cause you wanna develop this. Let's say this. First of all, I don't understand if it's Liberty Hill, the community, I grew up in, Charmaine grew up in, and some others, Courtney. And FT, yeah. What I don't understand is this, how is it, my mother lives on Ferndale side of Liberty Hill, and my wife grew up on the Amtrak side of Liberty Hill. Why is one side of Liberty Hill different from the other side? Now, I know you can't go back in history to do that, but when it happened on the Ferndale side of Liberty Hill, how is it not happening on the Amtrak side? I know you can't answer that, but this is what I want you to try to think about. Let's say Ford and his guys, right? They try to build single-family homes on that property. How would that happen? How would that be done? And real quick.
How would they build
How
homes?
many homes can they build, single-family homes?
I haven't evaluated that property, so I don't know how many acres is it, do we know?
1.7.
1.7.
So you've looked at single family, how
It's
many?
about maybe 1.2 single family.
Yeah, the front's B1, the backs are one.
Half acre is like B1 already.
Okay, let's say the Liberty Hill community says they don't have a problem with you all going R1 at the top, right? At East Montague. And cause R1 is already to the back of it, right? Let's say they do that. So how many homes can you build single family between the two parcels?
I can tell you the exact figures, definitely not a ton.
Probably like 6 to 8 homes.
6 to 8 homes, right?
6 to 8 homes, and you can do that in B1 already. You don't need to have a rezoning to R1 to make that happen.
Okay, Andrew.
So our density for single family homes, if they were not to subdivide, is 4,500 square feet of lot area per home. So at over acre and a half.
At what cost?
65.
That's another, that's what
Yeah,
costs.
so, Ms. Mitchell, let me see if Adam, what do you think the cost would be per home?
I would say at a minimum, you're looking at $300,000 per home for the construction cost, plus the land cost and all the development fees along that. I don't know, I know you guys have a different model for how you approach it, but I mean, at a minimum, you're probably looking at $400,000 a home, like.
Well, on Nesbit where my mother lives at, most of the homes there are in the $350,000 to $460,000 range. Right there on Nesbit Avenue, right in the black box, right there. So when you take it up to the top, it's going to be around $300,000 to $400,000, right? But you're only gonna have a certain amount of homes that you can build. But let me ask you this, if these guys purchase their property, and I'm gonna keep it real, the city was trying to purchase the property as well. And that lady said, who's from Liberty Hill, that she's not selling it to my church, Royal. She's not selling that property to our church. And that's why the whole conversation went sideways. So if these guys, they buy the property, can they build homes there and rent them?
Could they?
Yes.
They could. Is there an economic model that makes it work?
Before you answer that now,
Okay,
so you mean
yes,
to tell
they
me
could.
if they buy that property, all that property, they can build homes that they rent?
That would be an option for them, yes.
Liberty Hill, what you want?
But can I ask, what was the
Okay,
reason for denial with planning and
Yeah,
zoning?
I'm gonna cut off
Oh,
and you get to it.
okay.
Yeah, I just want you to say that because we have a situation here and we're trying to negotiate and work things out, right? I've always heard with Miss McFadden and Valerie that we want to build Liberty Hill back up, and the frontage area, which we have a streetscape coming, would be the businesses that are gone. We will try to put businesses there. When we had the community meeting, when they talked about trying to build an office space, we were saying, okay, that sounds better than having the townhomes. And I have an issue with the townhomes because Liberty Hill is a community for all. So I'm not gonna get into that. But that's why I want you to tell me if they bought their property and they come in and they build single family homes, they can rent those homes. They won't be for sale.
That would be an option, yes.
Okay, all right, I'm good, Nefertiti, I'm good.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand what was the reason for denial,
thanks,
cause there was such a high statistic of 7-0 with planning and zoning, so what was the reason?
So
It was-
the recommendation was made based on there's a 2006 plan for Liberty Hill that established that B1 corridor along the south side of Montague. And so we were just being consistent with that as well as having the commercial encroach deeper into the residential there. I will say, you know, it's these things are an art, not a science for sure. There is B1 on the parcel. It is limited business, so that's our more neighborhood oriented commercial districts that would be appropriate adjacent to residential.
But it's just saying, basically it was because it would be pushing business deeper into the neighborhood, so it'll be a business behind other people's residences, is what you're saying?
Right, that's right.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it would be,
Okay.
all the way back.
I just wanted to ask if I know we all know this, but Roper is gonna be built. I'm just curious what we would think this is gonna look like once Roper's completed, because my understanding is that I would assume there's gonna be a lot of ancillary businesses going up and down that place. There's gonna be a lot of, you know, that area, people are gonna buy the houses up, that's my assumption, when I look at it. Whatever's available. I don't know if it's worth doing, I feel like this would eventually end up happening, I'm not sure. That's my thought on it. And I just wanna state that out there, because to me, I understand preservation of the neighborhood, I do, and I believe it. I do believe it. I've been down there and talked to the homeowners myself. I have walked. Okay, so that's what I'm just, I want. Hold on. Talk to us. So I just want, that's my thought process. I feel like.
Never seen them in
I would say development.
Can you speak a little louder? Cause I can't hear you.
That's my thought process on the whole thing, and I was just curious, I mean, we've thought about this. I know everybody here must have thought about this, it's an ongoing conversation, so I just wanna throw that out.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to be clear, are you stating that the R1 single family residential now, if voted upon to B1, limited business, that they can actually build apartments or homes there that can be leased? Is that what I understand?
Adam?
Is that what I understand?
They could build homes that are leased. It really depends on the site layout. I think that that's something we're kind of forgetting. Putting homes on 1.7 acres, it's not just putting homes. You need to put sewer and water and sidewalks and roads. And so that eats up some of that acres, right? And so when we're thinking about it, you have this property, you could likely put maybe 8 or 10 homes or something on that idea in there, but you need to be able to access it, right? And so if you just did a private driveway, you could build those homes a little tighter and get more homes on there, which could be more affordable because you have an economy of scale. And they could be leased, they could be rented. But at what price point they'd be rented would really depend upon the cost of construction and the cost of the lot of the land. There's no guarantees that those would be an affordable product because it actually costs a lot of money to develop new homes. Right? So without some other subsidy from the we can't guarantee affordability.
Mr. Chair, may I ask another question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, should I address it to you or to? I don't want you to tell me to be quiet.
No, you don't, because you have quite a bit of knowledge out here, greater than mine with the zoning and also project manager.
So may I address it to Adam?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Adam.
Yeah.
Then with that information, can you explain to me the difference between R2 and B1? As far as the
Sure. R2 is multifamily residential, so it's your apartments, duplexes, townhomes, and so forth. B1 is neighborhood business. The B1, so a B1 is neighborhood level business, so that's like small form restaurants, salons, barbershops, neighborhood, things you would need in your neighborhood, right? We're not talking about a Walmart or a gas station or a CVS, we're talking about neighborhood level scale things, small office places, a small doctor's office, a lawyer's office, something like that.
That could also be apartments.
And so, no, it does not allow for apartments. It allows for up to 4 units, I believe. Currently, B1 will allow for up to 4 units as a secondary use. The first use would have to be a business. So you could put four units on B1 as is currently in the zone.
You got the good guy right behind you. There you go.
I'm here to say that is
I appreciate the support. You're also very
Dr. Place, you got the guy up there now.
Okay, so did Adam answer my question?
He did, yes.
Okay.
How does he know?
And
How does he know if he answered your question?
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna trust the process. I don't know if I'm gonna trust the process.
You good? You good with them? Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
That's what I want to bring up before us, because Liberty Hill is B1 at the front and it's R1 at the back. I mean, it's R1. R1. So that's what I'm saying. Anybody that buys a property can build a business up front. The issue is how many homes can you build on the R1? That's the only issue. And whatever homes you build there, they're not gonna be affordable, especially with the space. So that's the thing that we would talk about. What would be the best to help Liberty Hill decide this, because it won't be. If we don't change the zone from the front to R1, then it's always gonna be B1, which is a great thing for business sake, right? But behind it, you only can put, you cut it down with the infrastructure so much of the land. So you only be able to put 4 or 5 homes there. And if you put that there, they're gonna be, at a cost. A home right now, you're talking about 250 to 65, dollars per square foot. And if you build at least a 2,000 square foot home, that's where the cost comes in at. And that's what the community needs to know. I don't know, but you go ahead. For the
I could speak.
It's gonna be tight.
Yes. I'm gonna take this last go around, but really limit yourself now, okay?
Well, again, and I think I'll just say probably what they're gonna say is again, you're talking about neighborhood use, so walkability, that type of thing. But so they sat down with the mayor and myself and talked about, this is a community that they're looking to continue to do more work in, to continue and invest in. And I think the mayor, they've so that's something that I think we need to think about too, is like, this is a small first step. We're not talking about blanket rezoning the whole neighborhood. This is a potential for a active investor to come in and do some good.
You said active.
Hold on just 1 minute. Yeah, just wanna give him and then I'll come back. Are you
Because it's a
finished?
vacant lot.
Thanks.
It's a vacant lot, that's all.
Yes.
So it was something said about like the residents of Liberty Hill, like it's like a representative. I just wanna kinda know who exactly in the room is a resident. That we, like just like who have interest, land, or residents in the area. We're not interested, excuse me, land and live in the area. On Liberty Hill. No, live on Liberty Hill. Okay,
Are you saying land, you saying have
okay,
land,
okay,
two
okay.
different things.
And these the same people who were speaking in regards to denial, that's what I was trying to clarify. Cause it was a comment me, so I was trying to make sure like, okay.
Your question is who all is in favor of denial out here, that's what you asked.
No, I wanted to just, because they said it's a nucleus of people making decisions, so I wanted to see if Liberty Hill was any to represent. And the people who spoke, a good bit of them actually are residents, so that's what I was trying to clarify.
Any more questions or comments from council?
I had my hand up.
I'm sorry, please, I'm sorry. Maybe
I wanna speak to MD's comment, Councilman MD's comment, as it relates to Roper coming over here. And the fact that, to clarify, that your assumption is that that Montague corridor running through Liberty Hill will be developed at some point or taken over at some point anyway? Was that your thought process?
Yeah, so not taking over, but yeah, it's definitely gonna
Same
get.
thing, that won't happen, that won't happen. Because Liberty Hill will be preserved as a historical landmark. And we will not sit and allow that community to be dismantled and or dismissed. So Roper coming is a great thing for our community, but redeveloping and taking over that Montague corridor will not happen. I won't stand for it, and I don't think any other residents and stakeholders on Liberty Hill will ever stand for that. Let's make that clear. But that's what you implied. I wanna make sure you understand that you're talking about a historical community that will not be dismissed, it will not be dissolved as other communities in our country and in this city has been in the past.
I just wanna make something. Mr. Chair.
Hold on, I got the chair now, and we're not getting in a debate, we be here till 12 o'clock. Hold on.
Well, the thing is, it's like, how about point?
Hold on, Dr. Ganaway.
Yes, sir. My question is, I wanna know how many people that are here that actually live on Liberty Hill.
There was a question, how many people actually live on Liberty Hill that's here?
Thank you.
Guys have heard it.
Could I speak, Mr. Brown,
You know,
as the applicant? I mean, I thought I would get.
yeah,
He didn't sign up. So you are, you.
Hold on. Hold on. I still got chairs.
No, I just, cause I try to,
Yes,
I remember
yes.
his face from a
would.
a different business.
You know,
Point of inquiry, and I asked one, so just
hey
wanted to make
guys,
sure.
I got the chair, would you mind wait a minute?
Yeah.
There was a sheet sign up, I'm gonna do the justice for you and let you speak, which I shouldn't, since you're the property owner. So that they can hear from you, sure.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. So, yes, my name's Ford Smith, I'm here representing this particular parcel. Like it's been said, the front is zone B1, every property on that street and that particular corridor is zone B1 on the front on that side, the other side's zone B2, okay? What we're looking to do is extend the B1 to the back. You know, heard the talks of R1, the back right now is zoned R1. I wanna give a glimpse, and I'm gonna talk about several things, but I do wanna give a glimpse into what the actual cost of this stuff costs, cause I think it's hard to really see that. That land that we're buying is $1,050,000, okay? $1,050,000. The site work alone to prepare a single family site with roads, sewer extensions, water, detention ponds for stormwater, doing it how the city would really wanna do, would be well over $1 million in site work, okay? Well over $1 million in site work. If you're talking 8 houses, just for a lot cost alone, you would be over $200,000, okay? Over $200,000 a lot. Builds, we do them more affordably. We can get under that 260 square foot threshold, but our average build would probably cost about $350,000 to build. So you take $350 and you add it on to $250, you're at $600,000. And that's a break-even number, not including interest to the banks, not including holding costs, not including hazard insurance, liability insurance, overhead on a company. So these homes would have to be sold for upwards of $750,000 to even scratch, okay? And we know the community does not wanna see that. We don't wanna raise property values in the community either, building homes like that. The only feasible use for the property is to go B1 in the back. And what our idea for that was, which I'll explain, obviously it's limited use, you know, we wanted to do business office and small retail. And I want everybody to realize too, this is a 1.7 acre site. That may sound huge, but the Citadel Mall and the Northwoods Mall is not fitting there. It is a very small property once you put in all the infrastructure. You're talking maybe 10 or so small scale offices, one building. The rest has to be parking. North Charleston has a requirement for every 300 square foot of space, there has to be one parking. So in all reality, the majority of that whole entire parcel will be parking spaces. I heard a lot of concern at one point about the church next door, people parking over there. There will be so much parking, people will not know what to do with. Also on the traffic aspect, There's traffic there already, and I know everybody hates traffic. I hate the traffic, I hate the train. I'm driving down there. My office is on Mall Drive, okay? So I get it. The thing about limited businesses, these are 9 to 5 businesses, so it will limit traffic in that aspect. You also have several other developments in that particular area that some people may know about, some people may not know about. They're not our developments, but there are other pretty large things going on, a couple parcels down, that are going to bring even more homes. You got Roper, you're gonna have a need for small scale business. Also going to the fact that yes, this is Liberty Hill and we respect Liberty Hill. We've met with the community, and I will come back to how we met with the community and what came about from that. But I do want everybody to recognize that the sole access of this property is on Montague. Yes, it's Liberty Hill. We understand that, we respect that, but the sole aspect of this property and the sole frontage is on Montague. You cannot access it from the physical residential part of Liberty Hill. So I do want to make that clear. Also, in terms of buffers around the property, there will be buffers, okay? We've spoke to property owners like Sam and talked about what buffers would be there. You know, circling back to when we met with the community, we've met with several small groups in the community, and then we've held a meeting at the train station for all community people that obviously had notice about it to come out. There was a large group of people. The TV wasn't working when we got there. We ran to our office, grabbed the TV off the wall, brought it in, and did a presentation. And overall, I thought the presentation went really well. And at the end of the meeting, you know, people were hugging, people were shaking hands, people were praying, and it kind of sounded like B1 was an overall good idea for the neighborhood. So it's interesting to hear the full change. And I also want everybody to know, when we started down this road, and it's been a long road, we came in, we tried to rezone to R2. Planning Commission was recommending that. We listened to the community, we heard the community, we pulled back and said, okay, you don't want R2? We'll come up with another solution for you guys. And the other solution was B1. It seemed like everybody would rather see businesses that could be helpful to the community instead of apartment buildings. Okay, you know, some of those businesses that we are trying to bring, obviously we got Roper coming. There's gonna be the need for private doctor's offices, but on top of that, there's a need in the community for other things. And I'll list some of the type of tenants that we are trying to attract. Again, it's better for us to have tenants that are attractive, not for us to have vape shops, to have bars, to have stuff like that. Also, in this district, you can't have stuff like that in B1. The type of things that we're trying to bring are small, yeah, I'll give you, so health and wellness services like a dental clinic, doctor's offices, vision care centers, mental health counseling, psychiatrist office. Small, you know, job creating businesses like maybe a phone repair or electronic service, a bakery, a coffee shop, small clothing store, tutoring and learning center. Stuff that can actually be used. I just want to talk about what this realistically takes to do. You may rezone it today or you may not rezone it, but the path to completion is 24 to 36 months or more, okay? Obviously, you got the rezoning and approvals, which we're doing right now. You got planning and design, permitting, site preparation, utilities, foundation work, building the structure, finishing the structure. It is a long, cost-intensive process. It's not quick. And a lot of stuff that we heard about the R2 as well was the property taxes. You know, our residents are facing hardship from not being able to pay property taxes and having to leave. I get that, I understand. With bringing it to B1, it's not a residential structure. If we sell those homes for $750 on there, and I bet you we would, okay? And they'd have to be 3-story homes to get the value out of them. That would raise property taxes. This would not raise property taxes. And I'll finish up here soon, but I wanna talk about several things, so.
Remember, I just let you in now.
No, I know, Mr. Brown, I saw you looking at me. Yeah, I saw you looking at me, so I'm just trying to be respectful.
Yeah, be respectful. Can you give your name and address so she can have it for the record?
Yes, sir, it's Ford Smith, otherwise known as William Smith. My address is 1247 River Road, Johns Island. I operate.
I think you haven't cut you short now, because I've been here for quite some time listening to it, and you should have signed up I was being real
Yeah.
nice by getting you on the list.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you have a council member question?
I'm just trying to understand, so are you the property owner, or are you a consultant for the property owner?
No, so.
Cause I've seen you at like for other zones for the same district,
Yes,
for different
ma'am.
properties, so I
So
just kinda, I just
there's three owners to the company. It's me, Nick, and Batali. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
y'all
We all
company-
own the company together. I just happen to present and talk most of the time.
So y'all did the Remount Road zone R2 trailer park too, right?
No, that was Remount Road.
That was you, right? That was you.
No, the only thing we've rezoned recently was something on Attaway that was a vacant piece of land.
That,
Oh, so your
Yeah.
question is he the property owner?
The
The question was, are you
Are
the
you-
property
No,
owner?
no.
Okay, are
Yeah,
you?
we're
a
one.
development company?
No, ma'am, I'm
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We had a good conversation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak. And sorry again for not signing up. I was unaware as the applicant that I wasn't able to speak.
Thank you. We got it on the table move for approval. I guess we've already here talked for what we had, the decision made by the staff and also planning commission. Guess council is finished. I'm gonna do a roll call vote on this. And this is for a motion for approval of this rezoning. Madam Clerk, could you please?
Dr. Ganaway Paisley?
You get to me first, I'm
One and two.
At this time, I'm gonna have to say no.
Dr. Palmer Roberts? Mr. Emby?
Yes.
Ms. Brown? Opposed. Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Skipper?
No.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mayor Burgess?
No.
Thank you, guys. Remember that somehow, and I think you said you had a conversation with the community. I'm not sure on what part of it, but I think you probably, if it would be best, I don't know if you can revisit, because some of the questions or answers you brought up. I think you have an option to go to R1 if you want, that's right. Or do B1 in the front and then go to R1 in the back. So I thank you guys for your consideration.
It was just the one community member who lived here tonight? Who all lived here?
Well,
item number 2 or 3.
Okay. Yes.
Here, you can get with him. He can help you out with the community aspect.
Okay. I'm gonna move on to item number 3. That's the ordinance rezoning of property addresses 5437 and 5445 Assembly Street. Charleston County TMS number 47102000063.5 acres and 061.42 acres from R1 single family residence to M2 Heavy Industrial Council District 8.
Second.
Alright, it's motion and second. Any concerns from council? All in favor?
Speaker.
You got a speaker, I'm sorry. That's Mr. Jorge Medina. Can you speak your address and, I'm sorry.
My name is
Name and
Jorge
address.
Medina. My address is 1172 Willoughby Lane. And I'm here to try to make commercial the properties that you mentioned. I had the map right here.
No, sir. I think yours have already been to our staff and then back to planning commission. Just wanna hear your voice on that, your concerns, if you had any concerns. 'Cause I think what they're doing is they're denying the rezoning. They're not accepting the rezoning.
Well, on these two properties, there's two buildings. And there before was commercial. That's why I try to see if I can put it commercial again and make like a towing service.
See, where you zone at, it's R1, means single family residence. But where you wanna take it to is heavy industrial. And they're not gonna let that happen in that community. It's not gonna go for that zoning.
No matter it was commercial before.
Even if it wasn't commercial, it wasn't heavy industrial.
My name is Jessica Kiefer. I'm actually trying to help figure out this property issue with Mr. Medina.
Yes, you can
Whenever
come.
he bought, whenever he purchased the property, it was commercial. He had no idea that it was changed to residential at all until the city started giving tickets. Like, I mean, absolutely no idea. So no one provided him with any documentation or anything that they were changing the zoning, and they changed the lots. The lots were numbered differently, and they even changed that without his knowledge or permission or anything.
Tim, you'd like to address this?
As far as I'm aware, the property wasn't zoned commercial and we didn't rezone it. There are a few buildings out there that look like maybe a garage of some sort. Not sure what they were historically used for. I know the property is now being used as a tow yard, I believe, and so they're working with code enforcement to address that.
Yeah, we're not actually doing like work and stuff out there. It's just for a tow yard. That's what it, behind the gate. We're not trying to have things out in front of the gate or anything like that.
But I think that's the whole part. For you to have that would be heavy industrial. That's the reason why we can't have that in that community, and that's. Yes, Ms.
So if I raise my hand, y'all don't have to tell me be quiet, cause if I raise my hand, I didn't open my mouth, I raised my hand, so I'm just waiting for my turn to be called, just for future references. So my question was, how long was this business operating on the property?
We just started putting cars over there maybe a year ago, whenever they started giving tickets. We had no idea.
Okay, so he's only had the property for about a year.
No, he's had it longer than that. We weren't using it.
Oh, okay. But you said it was changed. Do you have
Yeah.
proof of that, or that's just what was told to you?
But whenever they told us that it was
You know what
changed to
year it
residential,
changed?
no
Was
idea.
made or anything like that?
Whenever he bought it, he knew that it was commercial though.
So
That's why we don't know what to do with him changing it
So,
without knowledge.
so my question is, you say you don't have proof of any change in the system with the map or anything?
Since he's become the property owner, if he just purchased in the last few years.
He didn't purchase it in the last few years. He's had it longer.
Well, how long?
Well,
And that's not in
So-
the last few years. That's a
the zoning has not changed. I believe we were mass rezoning in the nineties of Charleston Farms from R2 to R1, but yeah, that was not commercially zoned.
Thank you, sir. All right, the motion for denial.
So this is just for housing?
Yes.
Or can be mobile homes too?
No, it's just for housing.
But you can always reapply for R1A, but it'll be another process. So you can apply for mobile homes, but it'll come back in front of the board again to be voted on.
No, I'm asked because there's mobile homes on front and side.
That's still residential.
Okay,
Andrew, can you talk to him?
thank you.
so they denied it.
Okay. We have a motion for denial. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Got one more item for public safety. And that's an ordinance amending section 3-2 of zoning regulation. City of North Charleston update to clarify the definition of heavy commercial trailer. Need a motion, guys?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions from council?
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
what is the new definition?
The new definition is dealing with four, you don't need your homework. It was four tires on the trailer, and 15 feet, those are designated as heavy industrial trailer.
Thank you, council, I did my homework, I just wanted on record.
See if I'm online, huh?
I just wanted on record, thank you, sir.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any other thing coming to public safety? Meeting adjourned.
Alright, we'll call the Finance Committee meeting for February 19th, 2026 to order. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the January 15th, 2026 Finance meeting.
Move approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Alright, item number 2, our quarterly finance update. Mr. Rob.
Good evening, council.
Hey, Rob.
How are you?
Tired.
Well, I know I've been watching, it's been kind of a long night, so I'm gonna keep this pretty short. I'm gonna start with the budget, what's it called, the budget comparison, which is what it kind of looks like that. And we'll just kind of run through a couple of things. First, I'm gonna start down at the bottom, kind of get the shock and awe over with. If you look at the deficit at the bottom, we're running at about a $45 million deficit as of the end of December. This is actually common for this time of year. Again, we have a lot of our expenses that hit during the first part of the year. A lot of our property taxes come in starting in January and February. And then in April, we'll start collecting on our business license tax. So that's our kind of our biggest two revenue sources that come in at the year end. Just to give you an idea, I did look back on last year at this same report, and we were actually at a $49 million deficit at this time last year, so it's slightly ahead of where we were then. So then I'm gonna work my way back up to the top. Just from a revenue standpoint, we're actually starting out pretty good for this time of year. We're at about $40,289,000 of revenue. This time last year, we were just over 33 million. A lot of that, we're slightly up in property taxes from where we were last year at this time. But a majority of it is in permits. Our permits are doing really, really well. We've had some pretty big permits come in this year, and I've already met our budget for the entire year on permits and exceeded it. So that's kind of helped us get off to a pretty good start on the revenue side. On the expense side, we're about 2.5 million above where we were at this time last year, and so that's kind of where we're in that $4.5-5 million surplus from where we were at this time last year. And so the expense side of it, if you were to dig into it a little bit deeper, we did at this time last year. For those of you that remember, we established our deferred maintenance fund for $5 million. So if you were to take that out of last year, we're actually about 7 million ahead or more on expenses as well. But that's just kind of spread out through all the departments, just from the standard payroll expenses, general cost of living going up, and just the budget increase from last year. So all in all, we're right where we kind of need to be on everything. Nothing to be concerned about. So from
One thing that might be helpful on this though, Rob, is like you pointed out the prior year for the same period of time, but maybe a column that shows, okay, here's where we're at in 2026 for the first 6 months, and here's where we were at for the first 6 months, a year ago.
okay, yeah, I could add that.
And then maybe, cause that would kinda.
Yeah, kind of a year comparison.
Right, cause I mean, you're telling us
Telling you
anyway,
it's just not on there.
but I think if you could see it, that might be beneficial to, hey, look, we're ahead of last year, or we're not ahead of last year, or somebody needs to go collect some business licenses or something.
Yeah, we can make that update to it, not a problem at all. So,
Do something,
yeah,
I mean, I
absolutely.
just think that might be helpful.
But then what am I gonna talk about? No, we can certainly do that. So, and in fact, that's when we go to the next sheet, if you guys wanna go ahead and pull up the graphs. I'll talk about the graphs, but behind the graphs are the charts and the real numbers that make up the graph, and it's actually does that. It kind of shows where we are in comparison. It is very helpful. So yeah, we can certainly make that update. That wouldn't be hard to do. So looking at the page with the graphs, just starting at the top, local option sales tax, y'all have heard me say it many times. This is a very important one because 100% of it goes into the general fund. We're at 52.7% of our revenue projection this year. At this time last year, we're at 50.8, so just slightly ahead. If you were to kind of take where we are now and then just finish out the year with where we were last year with no additional growth, we would finish around 19.3 versus a budget of about 18.5. So assuming there's no slowdown or anything abnormal, we're trending very good in that revenue source. On the hospitality tax, same thing. This year we're actually at 53.6%. of the budget, whereas this time last year we're at 42.6. Last year, everything kind of slowed down a little bit temporarily, but it seems to be picking back up now. And again, we are trending, you know, barring no surprises, we are trending to surpass the budget there pretty decently as well. Local accommodations tax, this is the one that's, it really has not picked up a whole lot. We're at 52.9% of the budget this year. We were at 51% last year, but this one started slowing down. And if you look, we actually budgeted a little bit less this year than what we did last year. If things continue to trend there where they are, though, we should surpass that budget as well. And then looking at the state accommodations tax, that's the one that's really just been kind of flat. And that's another one where we budgeted a little bit less this year because that one really took a dive when we were doing the budget at this time last year. And it kind of using the same method, if you take what we've collected and we were to at least collect what we did at this time last year, we would end up right around 3.8 million, which is right at the budget. So nothing to be overly concerned about there. Business license, as I mentioned earlier, you know, I don't even normally talk about business license this time of the year, just because so little of it's been collected. But I think, you know, kind of in relation to the growth we're getting from the permits, the business license we have collected year to date are about $1.5 million to 2 million ahead of where we were, about 1.8 million ahead of where we were this time last year. So all in all, we're looking pretty good on the revenue side of everything as we stand right now. Any questions? Appreciate it. Thank you.
I can tell you, city contracts don't get paid unless the business license and insurance are up to date.
Thank you for that tidbit, sir. We appreciate that. Item number 3, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to sell a vacant lot and portions of 2 vacant lots to the South Carolina Department of Transportation for $5,631 in Council District 8.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, what's this property? Where's the property?
It's on Attaway, it's in Charleston Farms.
Attaway, okay.
This is for the 526 expansion, and I did have a question. Eileen?
Yes, sorry.
I'm just pointing in this general area.
Sorry.
So my understanding, obviously this is from 526. And they're gonna give us the money. If we voted this down tonight, what would happen?
They could just come at us with eminent domain because it's for 526 and it's a project of, you know, regional and, you know, regional significance on the national highway system. They're going to win. I'm not the attorney, but Chris will probably tell you the same thing.
Yeah, so we're going through this on cardboard too, so, and that's the reason I brought it up, is because we're probably gonna see a lot of these, I would assume, or a few, as with these widenings and stuff, so. I mean, there's really no reason to fight them, it is what it is.
Some of the ones that have come before you recently were for some lots that we had, residential lots, and they're gonna build new housing that's related to this project. Those were sort of discretionary. This, we can say no, but they're just gonna say, yeah, we're taking it.
And that's, I guess,
They're
the
gonna
next
pay us
item,
the same amount, so we're just gonna save that discount.
and I guess the next item too is the same deal, so.
Same thing, yes.
Except for Charleston County.
Any other discussion?
Eventually 526 or to DOT as well, sorry.
Guys, this is how this thing works, alright? And, you know, we've talked about this for quite some time. Everybody has an opportunity to speak. You don't have an opportunity to engage with the crowd, whether it be the staff, whether it be an individual from the public. You're talking to the chair for the benefit of the people on council, okay? If you raise your hand, give it a second, either whoever's leading the meeting is gonna call on you. If you don't, stand up or something, but please don't get into the habit of engaging back and forth and having a separate conversation that's not coming through the chair for the benefit of all. And part of that is, you know, we can't necessarily hear what you're talking about, so you're asking a question that we're not getting the benefit of. So if you ask the question to the chair, then if we need to go to the staff and say, can you expound on that, then that's what we'll do. Alright, everybody got it?
Well, thank you for clarification.
Yes, ma'am. Is there any other discussion on item number 3?
I have
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Councilwoman Brown.
Yes, thank you. So these lots are specifically for not for homes, but for the construction of the bridge, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 4, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to sell portions of 2 lots to Charleston County for $133,800 in Council District 6.
Move for approval.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Why,
Councilwoman Brown? Thank you, yes ma'am.
okay, so why is there such a significant difference in pricing? Is it the size?
It's based on the appraisal, the appraisals that were given for the property. If you go and look, one of them was appraised at right at $12 a square foot, and the other one's like $1.25 a square foot.
Okay.
If you multiply that out by the amount of property they're taking, that's how they came up with the price.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 5, a resolution authorizing the city of North Charleston to accept the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund grant in the amount of $143,534.49.
Move for approval.
We have a motion, is there a second? We have a motion and a second, is there any discussion?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
So the city is official recipient and responsible for these funds. Is there any room for these funds to be allocated to any other source? Or is it strictly for the opioid coordinator?
They have to be used for a specific purpose. So they don't necessarily have to go specifically to the opioid coordinator, but they do have to be used for the purpose of opioid intervention and prevention. And so there's a laundry list of stuff we could use the funds for.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if the funds are not gonna stay within the city for the opioid coordinator, because that's the way I understood it when I read it, and thank you for clarifying that. How else would these funds be used, and if they're allocated to a third party, will council have any say as to where those funds go?
Council would have to approve where the funds go. If it's for something that's primarily large, that could be considered a capital sort of project, there is processes that the funder makes us go through in terms of entering into like an MOU with whoever else we want to essentially involve with the use of the funds. But yes, it does have to go back before council to approve essentially anyone else outside of the city using the funds, so any other organization.
Councilwoman Brown.
Are we as council people, as our districts, because it is a large amount of funds, and is it the second year? Cause it was more last year.
It's been a couple years. I think we're coming up on 5 years, maybe.
So are we able to partner with the opioid department and see if any of those funds assist in our districts, individual districts as well?
Do you mean like involve the opioid coordinator more directly in the districts, or? You can.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I write this application, I go to the opioid coordinator in the police department, because I myself don't know essentially where the funds need to be used, what they need to be used for. So let's say council has some ideas of where to use these funds, then we can always have a discussion on where to use them, how to use them, and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was just doing to, confirm what she's saying. I mean, even with the drug money can be used anywhere in the city, according to who asked for it. Yeah, so if we have some seizure drug funds, as long as we fall within the guidelines of the federal, we can use it anywhere in the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have one. So in the grant, the way that it was written, though, $98,500 plus benefits is coming out that $143 to fund the grant coordinator. So a large portion of these funds, once you put in the benefits, it's pretty much gone. Just to fund that person. Councilman, somebody over here? Anybody else?
One other
Yes,
question,
ma'am.
Mr. Chair. So I just want to be clear that any portion of the money, regardless of the amount, has to come back before council if it's gonna go to a third party. Is that true?
It would have to go essentially before 2 people. So if let's say we accept this, but we're accepting it for a different purpose, I would have to go back to the funder to start. But if we are also wanting to use it with the outsourced organization, I would essentially have to go back before council for that as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other comments? We'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 6, a resolution authorizing the city of North Charleston to accept the Palmetto Pride Litter Prevention Grant.
Move for approval. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, did I understand that there's gonna be like 9 36-gallon trash receptacles that the money's gonna be used for?
Yes, it's gonna be for public works, to pick locations of where they can go, should go.
Are they gonna be may I ask another question, Mr. Chairman? Are they gonna be strategically placed in high traffic areas, maybe at bus stops or?
I think the public works litter crew is gonna have some input as to where they're seeing the most issues.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, ladies, too, for your input, and everybody's input tonight, we've had quite a bit. Item number 7, a resolution authorizing the city of North Charleston to accept the Palmetto Pride Litter Enforcement Grant.
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 8, a resolution accepting Twisting Lane Way and portions of Cottage Landing Drive and Rimley Ridgeway into the city system for maintenance in Council District 9.
Yeah, what's that?
What district is that in?
Yeah.
Move approval.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? I will say, every time that we do this and we accept these roads, whether it's in my district or anybody else's district, you know, we're ultimately signing on for a check at some point to repair these roads.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you know, we've got to come up with a better mechanism of putting money aside, and also getting more money from the developers on the front end, but that's a different story. Any other comments or?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just like you guys spoke, did for 2024 about the deferred maintenance. Could we, I mean, have y'all seen this type of money go into that type of fund? Until we can get, you know, the planning done to get it done?
Well, I mean, I think we should put in as much as we can in that type of, you know, depending on how the budget works out and what kind of funds we have it in, but, you know, any deferred maintenance funding that we can have is always good, so.
Cause I would add,
Absolutely. Any other discussion? You have a motion and a second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an amendment of the agreement for development of a joint county industrial park by and between Charleston County, South Carolina and Colleton County, South Carolina, so as to include additional property in the city of North Charleston as part of the joint county industrial park.
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 10, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an amendment of the agreement for development of a joint county industrial park by and between Charleston County, South Carolina and Colleton County, South Carolina, so as to include property located in an existing tax increment finance district in the city of North Charleston as part of the joint county industrial park.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 11, request to approve the purchase of 10 motorized axial fans at the North Charleston Aquatic Center for dehumidified air services, St. Laurent, Quebec, Canada, in the amount of $85,489.81.
First, before I say anything, what district is this, aquatic center in?
That's my district.
Same question you.
Alrighty then.
Move for approval.
Move approval.
I got people saying it's in 6.
No, yes, I thought it was one.
That's second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, we'll get that.
I would ask, I mean, I assume that this is something that we have to have for the overall functioning of the aquatic center.
If we don't do it,
Pretty significant.
I mean,
Anything you need.
He moved over there.
he moved over there, but that's the truth is, if we don't repair this thing, we can't dehumidify the place and we're gonna have to close the building.
We talk about a lot of swim meets coming up right now from high school and high school and other meets coming up as well. And we are making money on that building.
One of the big things that this piece of equipment specifically does is it brings outdoor air into the building, conditioning it to pressurize the space to remove the chlorinated air out of it, so you don't have that chlorine smell hits you in the face, or you're breathing it the whole time that you're in there.
Alright, one last question I just have to ask. That building's not that old. So why, I mean, is that normal wear and tear that we're having to replace that for $85,000? I mean, it just seems like a very short shelf life.
Yeah, so the 10 motors, part of that is because it's all one unit, and we're changing from AC motors to DC motors because we get a longer life out of them. The axial fans don't last as long as we would like, but that's what the manufacturer uses.
So this is in the norm of this type of equipment.
For that manufacturer, yes, sir.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there any other item to come before the finance committee? Hearing nothing, this meeting is adjourned.
Hold on, y'all got 5 minutes to